Right, so less than a month to go for the Hero Indian Super League Season 8 to begin. That's why we're back with Football United. Moria and I will be bringing you all that you need to know around the Hero ISL and Indian football at large. So without further ado, let's show you what we have on the show for you. All the updates as the teams gear up for the mega Hero ISL season. Pradyum Reddy rates the transfer business done by the clubs. Who gets the thumbs up? FC Goa head coach Juan Ferrando joins Football United to look ahead to the new season. And FC Bengal's Dutch midfielder Darren Sideol is all pumped up for his Hero ISL debut.
And we are so excited to be back. And so much has been happening in Indian football. The men have been busy, the women have been busy, the clubs have been busy. It's been such a hectic month.
That's right. In particular, the 8th SAF Cup title didn't begin according to plan, but certainly all's well that ends well, Moria. And of course, all the best to the women as well as they continue to prepare for that Asian Cup coming up next year, and also the under-23s.
Good that you mentioned the under-23 team. What a start for them against the much higher-ranked Oman. As the Indian under-23 team started off their campaign with a 2-1 win over Oman. India took the lead in the first half when Rahim Ali scored and then Vikram Pratap scored. India did concede one late and it did get a bit tricky for us in the end, but overall a great performance by the youngsters as they came up with a very, very credible win.
Right, so good luck to the under-23s for the remainder of their campaign. But as always on Football United, we now have a special guest joining us. On Football United, Moria and I are now joined by Pradyum Reddy, aka Dr. Reddy, and let's see what analysis he's got for us. Obviously, the focus of our attention is not just the ISL, it's also the Indian football team, Brad, which has been thankfully rather busy over the last couple of months, a couple of friendlies in Nepal, and then the SAF Cup duties where they made hard work of their 8th title, didn't they?
Well, I think, yeah, they got a lot of criticism, I think, because of the way the SAF Cup started off with a couple of draws, but I think you have to put everything in context. I mean, it is... Look, if you look at a club team and you lose or you don't win a couple of games in your preseason friendlies, there wouldn't really be alarm bells ringing. And I think with the national team, you have to take it with that sort of same attitude that it is preseason, effectively, because a lot of players have been inactive for a while. So the first games against Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, those games were effectively the national team's preseason, or the games in Nepal as well. And players are rusty, and you could clearly see that in a couple of games. But I'm not just trying to look at the sort of silver lining, but there were a lot of clean sheets. You're missing the likes of Jengan. You're trying a couple of new players, like Apuya got a lot of game time, and you could see how he grew as the tournament progressed. So you've got to take those positives, and I'm sure now Igor's got a much better idea of what players can play for him in a certain way.
The next challenge for a lot of these players is the Hero Indian Super League, which is less than a month away, and we now know the teams, right, Brad? We now know it better. What have you made of the transfer season? Who looks strongest?
The strongest teams are normally the ones with the best stability. When you talk about stability, ATK Mohan Bagan, the reason I'm saying that is you've retained the core of the players that got you to the finals over the last couple of seasons. You've strengthened in terms of some of the Indian players that have come in. They've definitely strengthened in that department.
No Sandesh Jingan, that's okay. But the Kolkata derby will definitely have a subplot of two Spanish head coaches up against each other. Of course, Habas.
27 November. Remember the date. 27 November.
Oh, yeah, 27.
Kolkata derby.
Don't miss it. 27
Don't
November. Okay, shameless plug aside. SC East Bengal under the new Spanish gaffer. How have they shaped up according to you? Because obviously a fairly unknown quantity still with all the new signings that they've had to make.
I think they've got a little bit of an advantage over last season where, yes, I mean, there's going to be people who say they left it very late once again with their Indian signings, and they had to, scout a little more carefully because a lot of the players are already obviously been signed by a lot of the other teams. But there's enough talent in Indian football. I've been watching the second division over the last month or so. There's plenty of talent in and around Indian football that may or may not be at some of the top clubs. So I've got no doubt Indian players can compete at this level, unlike some of the comments that were made about the Indian players last season. But I think the big difference this year is they've started early. They're having their pre-season in around the same time frames as all the other teams in the league. And you look at some of their foreign signings, you definitely can see that they can make a difference this year.
Two other teams, we haven't really spoken about them the last time we met, Brad, because they hadn't really announced all their signings. Chennai and Odisha. Again, completely new look foreign squad. What do you make of those two?
Odisha first, please.
Odisha is one of those. I mean, we said it last season where we thought they're one of the dark horses, and one of the reasons I think a lot of us said that was because they have a good young Indian contingent, a year older obviously now, and they've added a few astute signings, the likes of in areas where they needed to strengthen. Defense was an area where obviously they needed strengthening, the likes of Ruatara, Sahil Panwar, Sebastian, who comes fresh from winning the I-League with Gokulam. I think those are going to be important additions for them. But I mean, once the foreign signings were announced, I mean, everyone did have to, take notice all of a sudden. You've got players who've got La Liga experience, played at a very, very high level. And then
plus ISL experience also, right? Because Mongiel, Ravi, those are big players.
Yeah, the first two signings you could see was stability almost. It was like you get the likes of a Victor Mongiel and Havi, who've come from an ATK Mohun Bagan. They've come from one of the top teams. They've got pedigree of winning silverware in India. So I think that's crucial to a team that last year you could probably point the finger and say lack of experience or lack of cohesion. So that'll help. But the sort of, the icing on the cake is a sort of Brazilian striker that they brought who, on paper, you're looking at the CV, could be the signing of the season. I mean, that's how he's played at the top division.
Call.
Well, he's played in the top flight of the, he's in the Eredivisie, he's played in the Bundesliga, he's played in the Italian top division, and the Spanish top flight. There's not many players who can boast that on their CV. Well, I mean, if any club's going to do it, Chennai are going to do it, and they're the specialists of that in terms of they get their recruitment, and sometimes it works. And even last season, although they didn't qualify, there were patches where you thought these players had a real potential, and they could have made it for Chabalazla's team. So the coach has got a lot of experience in Asian football, obviously been at top clubs in Thailand, so he knows the market. And if you look at Buriram, they've always brought in top flight talent from different parts of the world, so I'm sure he brings that expertise to the team.
I think that's the same question for Kerala Blasters, isn't it? The question is, Pratt, can they reach the promised land finally and do for the fans what they've been asking for 7 seasons now?
Pre-season results, if you look at them, you'd probably have your doubts, but fortunately for fans and everyone, pre-season doesn't count for anything, because you look at their Durand Cup performances, you look at some of the friendlies against
local sides there,
and
Kerala
United, and obviously haven't impressed in those. But I think you look at the other side of the coin and you say they've had a lot of pre-season, they've had plenty of opportunities, so by the time they finish their pre-season, I'm sure their coach will have a very good idea of what's his best combination, what works, what doesn't work, because it's almost as if their pre-season could possibly be as long as the entire season. They could probably have a 20-game pre-season. So I think that you can't say that's a bad thing. Even if you don't win the results, it certainly will help the coach, will help the players.
Dr. Reddy, time to get your microscope out and tell us the best Indian signing / transfer for you going into the 8th season, and the best foreign signing as well.
Indian signings, I think the two marquee Indian signings, if you want to call it, is Liston, I think, moving to ATK Mohun Bagan. Anything that they can do, Mumbai can do better, and I think they trumped it by pipping them to Apuya.
And best foreign signing, you've already kind of hinted, it's Jonathas for you, or is there anybody else?
You can't neglect an FC Goa signing, I think, just because of, you look over the years, I mean, every single foreign player that they've brought up has added something special to this league, from the times of the Koros, the Jahus, the Bumu, and it continued last season with Angulo and Ortiz. And so I haven't seen much of Adam Cabrera, but you have to sort of say that a lot of these players that are brought in, I think, Pereira Diaz at Kerala Blasters, I think Cabrera, and these guys, and Jonathas as well, these are the ones that are new to the league, and definitely the ones who, one of them was obviously going to be a star and an impact player.
Right, that was Dr. Reddy's analysis, but now on to FC Goa, who might have been disappointed at the end of the last season of Hero ISL, but then they went on to win the Durand Cup under Juan Ferrando, and he caught up with Moria for a quick chat.
And it's our great pleasure that now we are joined by FC Goa head coach Juan Ferrando on Football United. Coach, welcome to Football United once again. First of all, many congratulations on winning the Durand Cup. Your thoughts on that? First major trophy for you here in India.
Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you, to enjoy this time with you. Thanks for the Durand Cup. Of course, was a amazing tournament. It was a pleasure for us to participate in Durand Cup. It was not so easy also because play with, in case, for example, against Bengaluru with a young team, exists future in Indian football. And but then the most important is the players wants to participate, was very motivated, and I'm so happy for the squad, for supporters, and also for the club.
But coach, also before all of this started, there was the AFC Champions League where FC Goa became the first Indian team to participate in that tournament. And what a performance by your team! Must be proud of the way the team and the players played in that.
The Champions League, for me, in my point of view, this is amazing competition. I hope we'll be in Champions League every season because firstly, to help for the Indian football, sure, when you are in the Champions League. Is second, because when you are in these competitions, the level is very high, and then it's necessary not only thinking about in 2-3 details in tactical, not only thinking about in 2 or 3 good players. No, you need to think in team.
First up is this new season. How are you looking ahead to this new season? Last year was your first time. You fell agonizingly in the penalty shootout in the playoffs. How are you looking ahead to this new season?
To be honest, for me, it's continue focusing game by game. You know, we know what our squad is. It's mixed, no, for young players, experienced players. Players are improving in day by day. For me, my target, of course, is in Mumbai because it's the first game. I'm not thinking about I want to win the league or win the trophy. Of course, this is my dream, and I have ambitions, like the same with the players, the same with the squad, the same with everybody, you know. But I think it's very important to put focus in a step and step. Every training is very important. For me, the last season was very difficult because, for example, when the players decide to, go to the training session, for me, this is not a correctly way. The correctly way is when you wake up, you breakfast, you're working with physios, you're working in the gym, prepare your mind about the training session. This is my target, you know. The players, it's necessary to understand everybody. It's when we are a professional team, when we are a professional player, it's necessary you are professional 24 hours, not only 2 hours in the training and that's all, you know.
Coach, going ahead to this new season, FC Goa have largely managed to hold on to the squad from last year. Two big changes. Cabrera comes in to replace Angulo. At the back, Donachie is gone. How do you look at the new signings?
Yeah, sometimes I'm not thinking about this is best than the other player. No, I'm not thinking about this. Is, for example, Iram is coming, and how is possible to change some points in tactical to help Iram, our team, and also I help my team, you know. I think it's very important in this point. About Fox James, yeah, it's different because James was experienced in a Champions League, and James Donachie, for example, the character, the personality is very strong. For Fox is different, but I know he can help us in some positionals in defense. I like with my team in FC Goa because after the training, I discuss a lot with the players about tactical, with Romario, with Edu. Sometimes, for example, the last training I'm very happy because with Clifford, my assistant, and Romario and Edu was talking about press, I like, because in this moment, I understand my team loves football. This is the most important in the teams at the end.
Coach, what was brilliant to watch was how you develop the Indian players. You made them better, all of them. That must also give you a satisfaction because you spoke that Akshay, Ravi and all of them told you that they want to develop the youngsters, and so many of these youngsters coming through last year and also in the Durand Cup.
Yeah. This, for example, this pre-season, Dalton, Christie, Downstone, Bryson, Papuya was with us in the first team. But sometimes my point of view is, who is possible to head the first team, but not stay in the bench. Really, trust me, it's really, for example, in one moment, Glam is tired. I'm not so scared about, my bench is Christie. sometimes the coach is thinking, oh, but Christie have not experience. No, for me, it's very important to, okay, Juan is tired, put Christie, no worries. This is the most important in my job. The success of my job is like this. If, for example, now is Townsend or is also Christie in the first team, they continue the pre-season with us. Also, Flan will be in the Bivalve with us. If in one moment it's necessary for one substitution, one red card, one injury, if I decide to put Flan, but I am not 100% to trust in this player, it's not my success,
That's so great to hear. And it's so good for a youngster to have that confidence, to know that the coach trusts me, that he's willing to give me a run out in the first team if the opportunity arises. But coach, there's a certain, fans are saying this year FC Goa start is one of the favorites to win the title. A settled squad, a manager who's proved that he can win titles, who's the toast of the town right now. Does that put some pressure that you are starting as one of the favorites?
Yeah, now when you told me about these words, I'm surprised, totally surprised. Favorite. No, I think no. Why? Okay, in football, sometimes I explain about the football is like the life with your girlfriend or with your wife. Sometimes, for example, the first week, when you start in pre-season, everybody's emotional, everybody's happy. The first time go to dinner, go to restaurant, go to cinema, it's the best moment, no? Sometimes there are problems because the ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend call her and maybe what happened here, no? It's the same with, for example, one player is not participating in the lineup. And then it's very important to control the dressing rooms because imagine when the foreign players are out of the lineup. Or, for example, with good players. For example, also with me, the last season with Brandon, for me, he's an amazing player, but has a lot of injuries, and then his performance was difficult to participate. Also, is the problems for the emotions of the dressing room. Sometimes it's necessary to talk about you are the favorite team. Sometimes because if the budget and your squad, you have very good players. Sure, you're talking. Maybe you are. More opportunities to win the league, But in my point of view, we'll see. Of course, we won. We take ambition, but my focus is against Mumbai.
But that was Juan Ferrando, all set for a brand new season of the Hero ISL. Time for a short breather here on Football United, but plenty still lined up on the other side. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on this episode of Football United. Before the break, we caught up with Pradyum Reddy and FC Goa's head coach Juan Ferrando. We now turn our attention to SC East Bengal. We caught up with their Dutch midfielder Darren Sideol, and this is what he had to say.
Darren, how has it been so far for you? Why India and why SC East Bengal?
Yes, it's been good so far, I have to be honest. The first couple of days it was a bit difficult with the weather because as most of the people know, in Holland it's not as hot as in India, so the first couple of days I had to adapt a little bit, but I have to say now it goes good. They made a lot of jokes about me because I could run good in the sun, so they said oh, you look Indian, you're from here, you're like an Indian player, so they made jokes about this,
Darren, SC East Bengal is obviously a massive club in the history of Indian football. Joining it comes with a little bit of pressure as well because the fans expect so much. Did you look up SC East Bengal before you came to India and realized how big it is to play for a club like that?
Yeah, 100%. Of course, most of the people know that the manager the manager of us was my manager last year in Spain as well.
Yeah.
So when I heard there was interest of him bringing me to India, I directly searched for the club on Google, watched the city, watched the club, the history, and I directly saw that it's one of the biggest teams, the biggest histories of India. And yeah, the pressure. I have to be honest. I like to play with pressure. I played like most of my time in the academy of Ajax, and so basically you grow up with this pressure because you need to win every game. People look at you that like you have to win every game.
And Darren, you spoke about Coach Manolo. What can we expect from him? What kind of a coach is he? Tell us a bit about him.
As you all know, I think Spanish football is technical football. So he wants to play technical football. I can't say too much, of course, because the tactics and stuff like that, but like the Spanish football is just tactical football, he likes to play, move the ball around. And from there you play,
And the season's less than a month away now. How excited are you to finally get on the pitch in the Hero Indian Super League?
Yes, I can't wait for that moment because the summer the holiday was so long. You see, like in Europe, you see the games already started in the competition, and you just can't wait to be back on the pitch again.
See, the thing is that your campaign might start with whichever team, but the match that really matters, Darren, for all the fans is the one on the 27th of November. I'm sure that you've been told about it a few times. It's a club called ATK Mohun Bagan. Moria supports it quite vociferously and passionately. Have you come to know about the Kolkata derby, how big the occasion is, even though there might not be fans in the stand?
Yes, I heard the day I signed, I got messages, I got videos of the game, I got videos of the supporters, and everybody is speaking about this game, that this is this is I think the biggest derby in India.
Yes.
And yes, these are games you want to play as a football player, It's unlucky that we can't play it like in Kolkata, that we have to play it like in Goa without the fans.
For a player, what does it mean playing in a derby? Do you approach a derby differently?
Like in Holland, you have one derby, it's like Ajax Feyenoord.
Yes.
And I never played in the first team, but in the academy, we also play against each other. So if we played away at the academy ground, you also have the feeling that the people look different at the game, they are shouting at us as kids. They are screaming to us, things like this. They try to intimidate you, And for me, to be honest, this is the best feeling, because if you play good and if you win the game, you basically, how do you say it? You show them be quiet, Don't say too much, we are the better team. So to be honest, it's these games you want to play as a football player.
And how about the food, Darren? People are calling you Darren Das in that camp. I'm getting to know. Have you adjusted to the Indian food and the conditions? You said you've been running in the heat anyway.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm from, my parents are from Suriname. And a lot of Indian things are also in Suriname. So the roti I always ate, I already ate since I was a small boy, dal, masala, things like this. I grew up with this, so basically for me it wasn't that new. So I'm quite used to it, but now it's different because now I will eat it almost every day, before it was once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Darren, coming back to the game, last year SC Bengal played in the Hero ISL for the first time. Not the best season. So that pressure of expectations is there because it's a huge club and fans demand success. How do you look at it? Do you treat that as pressure that every game they want the team to win?
I think it's normal. I think you need this from your fans, because if you don't have it, it's no fun,
And just before I let you go, Darren, are you going to give that jersey to Moria if SC Bengal beat ATK Mohun Bagan in the Kolkata derby?
Yes, 100%, but I want to also see a picture that he wears it, because I can give it, but he has to wear it as well,
I don't see either of that happening.
We will see. We will see. I'm quite positive about it, so I'm looking forward to see the picture with the shirt,
The mind games start ahead of the season. But thank you, Darren, for being with us. All the best for the 18 games of the season, barring the 2 against you-know-who. Well, seriously, all the best for the new season. I hope you have a great season with SC Bengal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, he might not be Indian, he's still very Dutch, but one thing's for sure, he's all set for the Hero Indian Super League. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of another episode of Football United. So from Moria and myself, until the next time, it is